And let's play this fun tangent because we got Tree showing up here for us, folks. Let's go.
This is Tom Grossi, and you're watching the PackReacts podcast. Let's go.
That's all they give him? That's all they give him?
That's classic.
Nice.
Welcome to PackReacts, hosted by, or co-hosted, as we should say, by me, Jeremy Hadler, and my other co-host, Mike Arvano. And I am thrilled to welcome one of the biggest YouTubers in the sports YouTubers, not the streamers like Twitch or, well, excuse me, not like Twitch, Kai, or whatever them. We got Tree in the house here, folks, who's known for his sharp, insightful, entertaining takes on NFL history and beyond, including Sports Ball, which was on, and we had the Mark Sanchez video pop out an hour ago for Tree's channel. And we also got Haters Guy, my favorite part of Tree's channel, his storytelling, and of course, which most people will know of, is Clickbait Sports. And he gets to roast Scooter every single time about his Cowboys, which is the fun part, which we always like to see Tree, especially when Micah Parsons gets traded and Tree laughing at Scooter. That's the best part, is what we like to say here. But whether you're a diehard fan of football or you're just a casual fan, this is one of the channels you got to watch for is Urinating Tree here, folks. Urinating Tree, thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure to be on, guys. Thank you for having me on as well. How you doing tonight?
Good.
Doing good, and thanks for coming on again.
Excellent.
So we, as mentioned before, we usually like to kick it off with our guests. PackReacts is focused on the guests that come on the show, and we're focused on kind of how you became, in this instance, not a Packers fan. Urinating Tree is actually our second non-Packers fan to join the podcast. We had Paul Farrington from the Paul Farrington Show on last week.
Yes.
About Vikings. We have Packers, Vikings, and now Steelers fan. So how you became a Steelers fan, and then also obviously you have a huge channel. Kind of how you got into YouTube, how like you kind of grew the channel, and where you are today. So kick it off.
Definitely. So how I became a Steeler fan, I was born and raised around the city of Pittsburgh. I grew up in the north of the city, about 20 minutes north, like around the North Hills, best way to really describe it. I grew up there. I've stayed in the city my whole life. I've bounced around from place to place. I lived in Avalon for a couple of years, Troy Hill, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh, like a little area in the city for about 7 years. I live in the Mon Valley right now near McKeesport. So I've been in and around. So I haven't really moved from state to state, but more or less have just been in this area. And when I was a kid, I more or less latched on to the local teams, which is if baseball, unfortunately, the Pirates. But you get some mistakes every now and again. But in terms of Steeler fandom, I think it was just watching those old 90s teams doing well, even though we won't talk about Neil O'Donnell, but I mean, otherwise, just seeing those teams, the Steel Curtain, learning about that history. I was too young to remember the 70s, but I did get to see some great teams in the mid-2000s, a couple rings. So with that, there was also that Super Bowl against Green Bay. We also kind of don't talk about that either, but a little different there. But in terms of my YouTube channel, though, I think more or less what happened was I think it was just like spur of the moment in terms of sports. I was doing like other stuff before that. Like a lot of the stuff like early on, I had an original channel back in 2007, but I was just like in college for shits and giggles, more or less, just game reviewing. But I think you could still find them around, but they didn't age well, honestly. It's just that the video quality's not there. It's like an old Radio Shack mic that's always like really tinny. If you ever bought a microphone in like 2007, 2008, they were like $20 at Radio Shack. That's how I'm aging myself out here because it's a Radio Shack mic. But the thing is, it was a simpler time. In terms of the sports stuff, though, I laid low for a while. I wasn't doing YouTube videos for a number of years. I re-uploaded some old stuff, but for the most part, I didn't really come back until 2016 on a whim. I'm to really say it just was more or less about the 2016 election, which I found that Radio Shack microphone that's really tinny. I had a copy of Windows Movie Maker, and then I just got the spark back. It more or less had just come into that, and then I started doing sports, which was there was a video at the time called Only in Cleveland, A History of the Browns Before the Merger. And that video, I believe, is still up. But the problem I had with that video, it's an excellent video, but it didn't go up. It ended right when the Haslam era began. So it was a perfect history from like 97, 98 until 2012 or 2011. But the problem is it didn't go to 2016. And what I thought would be a decent challenge would be bridging that gap between that video and the modern time. And because Cleveland was about to go 0-16. They didn't do it that year, but they were 0-11, I believe, at the time. I think it was late November when I first did that video. Mm-hmm. And I know it's a little rough around the edges at first because it was just like I was still trying to find my feed, but I thought it was just going to be a one-off. But after a while, I just found more or less the passion there. I remember the Jags had flat out imploded because they had just fired. It had just been like, this team sucks. They always just keep imploding. Like, why don't I just... And then I just thought, why don't I just do a video about it? So it was 3 minutes of rambling about that. And that's how it honestly kind of came to be. And slowly came Haters Guide. And that's when I realized it had kind of really became its own. So as I said, I'm shocked it even got this far. I remember one night after I released Haters Guide to the Playoffs, I was at, I think, 550 subscribers. Most of those were like older subscribers. I wasn't getting much traction on the videos because I'm like, you know what? I'm just doing it for creative release just to get back into it. So I didn't really care. Mm-hmm. But I remember waking up one morning, I see 650. I'm like, wait. I'm just thinking like I'm doing typos. Like, did I just gain 100 subscribers in a night? Okay. I remember that vividly because I was just like getting ready for work because just, didn't think it was going to be like anything happening there. But more or less, that's just how it really started. And then Haters Guide to the Super Bowl happened and it got even more of a blow up. And I figured, okay, it's time to start digging. I think there's some pipe here. So, and honestly, you just kept running ever since. I mean, it's been almost 9 years.
Wow.
Which is crazy to think. It'll be 9 years in November. I mean, it's nearly 10 years of sports ball. So it's just like, really? It's been that long, dude. If you think about it, like I have to do like a double take every now and again because you don't think about it when you're doing the day-to-day grind. Like I've lasted longer than most NFL careers. Like guys who are rookies, young guys, when I was drafted, they're either aging vets or retired.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's the surreal part. Ryan Ramczyk, Mike Williams, they were rookies. I was talking about their draft picks at the time in 2017. And now they've retired due to a combination of injuries and just age, which is just like, damn, it's crazy.
Right.
You've seen the eras of football come and go. Because when I started, it was the original grind. It was the standard, 16 game seasons, 6 teams in the playoffs. Nothing was really super wonky. You had your crazy games, but for the most part, it wasn't anything crazy. Most things were pretty standard, predictable per se. Now it's just like everything's on drugs. Everything's just, playoffs nonstop. I feel like, ugh. I watch Red Zone. I'm like, oh God, well, that's a 4-minute segment. I have 2 off days and then I have like 2 5-minute videos for each game. I tell you, but it's a pleasure to do this stuff. And honestly, it's every day above water is a good day. So I can't complain.
That's great. And one thing you mentioned about, the 9 years and, it's crazy. It's been so long. A lot of players, you said, there's a shelf life to be an NFL player. NFL stands for not for long, right? Exactly. But a lot of players have found out that they can actually extend their careers, not necessarily on the field, but by joining the media space of it. Look at social media or even, ESPN, NFL Network. You know,
Mhm.
look at somebody like Tony Romo, who actually ended his career early to get in the booth and kind of take that role.
Pat
But it's actually
McAfee.
Pat
That's the
McAfee
big one. He
and
retired to go to Barstool, and that was the best decision he ever made.
Great. That was totally the best decision ever made. But with the advent of YouTube, it's actually allowed the common folk, someone like yourself, right, who had done YouTube in the past, kind of took a little bit of a break, then came back on, and then didn't really have any expectations up front. It kind of just you
It just
know
happened.
just happened, hard work, day in, day out, right? And you know the only shelf life of a career on YouTube really is your follower base and the people that come back. Like, as long as you have the drive and the thing and just keep pumping out content, right? As long as the follower base is there, you could do this, for the rest of your life in theory. So,
You have to keep it more or less fresh, though. You can't do the
right.
same things over
No,
and
of
over
course,
again.
of
That's
course,
why
yeah.
I always try to keep evolving things. Because if
Of
I were
course.
doing the same thing I'd be doing in 2017, it would just, it's viewer fatigue. It's a real thing.
Right.
And I know, like, there's more or less those ebbs and flows there too, but it's just how life is. Like, I follow guys for a while and then I fade out. And then sometimes I
Yep.
go back to them. And then there's just times where I just don't watch again. That's just how it goes. And more or less, it's the fight of just more competition, because
Yep.
the big fish now want a part of this market. That's why they bought Pat McAfee. That's why Fox is bringing in Barstool, and more of the pro athletes are getting into the game now. The Kelsey brothers have probably the biggest podcast
Yes.
in sports right now. Cam Newton's doing his own thing, busting with the boys with Taylor Lewan and Compton.
Yep.
Like, those are old former NFL guys. Like, there are a lot of NBA players that have their own podcasts now. Players in general, active players have their own podcasts.
Right.
The Steelers long snapper has his own podcast now, Christian Kuntz. So, as
Really?
I said, it's just a big market right now, man. And it's just, you have to find your niche. And if you are able to find that, you can definitely do something in this life, man.
Right. Yeah, I think innovation in any industry is huge.
Mhm.
But the great thing about YouTube is, there's not that physical shelf life where Mother Nature comes and then, you're kind of on the sidelines. So it's like a really unique position. I don't think we've seen before. And with sports, you were playing, you were, in the media, the legacy media, or you were a fan,
Or you're a coach.
or you're a coach. Exactly. Right.
Like John Gruden.
And this really allows like the common folk to kind of come in and really take their and have a say in sports. So that's great. One thing I wanted to ask, and I'll let Jeremy ask a question. A lot of your videos, obviously you're a Steelers fan, but you don't just make videos about the Steelers. You make the videos about all of the NFL, but really all of sports in a lot of ways. So just curious how the creative process is to go into the videos, kind of the research and everything, because Jeremy and I mostly speak about the Packers, and we speak about fans when they come on, but we don't know everything about every team and about every sport. So I'm just curious about how much work goes into this and kind of the process.
It varies more or less per video. If it's like
Yep.
a quick congratulations video, you don't have to do that much to it. It's more with the creative kick.
Yep.
But in terms of a general video, I do a lot of Pittsburgh-centric stuff because that's what I've marinated in, like the
Yep.
Pirates, Steelers, Penguins, stuff along those lines. But with something like sports, there's a whole world out there. I don't want to be just restrained to Pittsburgh, because I hear local sports radio. I haven't listened to it in a while. Thank you, Sirius XM satellite radio. But it's one of those things that it just gets repetitive. It's the same things over and over and over again. And I know sports are cyclical, but there's a whole world out there to explore. There's so many different topics, fascinating stories. Bill Belichick at UNC. Like, that's going to be a big thing about the reality and the situation of things. There's stuff happening in Tennessee, Miami, the failure to launch with the Raiders right now. In baseball, the Colorado Rockies, atrocious. The Minnesota Twins, they blow up their whole team. They're not selling. It's just turning into a chasm. And that's the stuff that drives me. And it's just like, I want to learn about it. I want to, dissect it. I want to be able to just be able to see. Like, I know it's not real, but I want to be like the all-seeing eye of Sauron, just like knowing everything. It doesn't happen, but
Yep.
It's just that's just like what you kind of pretend you are, but you're not. Like, trust me, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I mean, if you were to talk to me about MMA, it would just go right over my head. I know nothing about MMA, but It more or less just comes down to certain things. I know the most time-intensive stuff are the legacies of failure. I know, like the Maple Leafs video I did a few years ago. I couldn't tell you how many hours I put into that. I know it was during COVID. I was like a 3-week span where I pretty much just spent nonstop on that. Not to mention a couple years before, and there are a couple others I'm working on too. It's just finding the time to chip away at it. It's
Right.
It's a kind of a good and a bad problem where you have a lot of like things to discuss, topics, content, but you don't have the time to do it all. So you have to kind of pick and choose your battles. And that's sometimes you just need to let things cook. Sometimes things just pop up randomly. It more or less just you have to get like the right sort of just feel for it. And that just comes with time.
No, definitely. Yeah, that's what I always do on my YouTube channel too, Tree. Like one thing like I got inspired from you and Fives was like having your own unique storytelling. And what I do on my YouTube channel is having a GOAT series on the NFL. So like I'm doing who's the greatest players in each franchise history, who's the greatest players in each position. Right now I'm doing who's the greatest in each decade. So from like 2020s all the way back to the 1920s right now, just explore what is that history like. 'Cause I always like seeing how you and Five always go about the history, and it's always unique, interesting videos that like you don't think of that most people wouldn't notice, but when you two do it together or like you do separately, it's pretty awesome to see that.
I think like the thing with sports, it's story driven. It's about trying to find that sort of edge and connection to the real world and being able to build it. Because it's like, it's not just X team playing X team. There are different storylines. New England Buffalo, for example, the old team that conquered, looking to reprove themselves and reassert themselves as a contender and a champion. Buffalo trying to get off the schneid of a couple trap games and get over that hump for the first time in franchise history and the first time in this era, to get back to the Super Bowl for the first time in 30 years. Stephon Diggs in the revenge game. Drake May trying to emerge as a legitimate quarterback and the face of this franchise. Those are the stories, man. And that's what drives people. That's what drives me. And that's the kind of thing that makes sports. It's about the storytelling. I mean, everyone listened to John Facenda and Sam Spence and NFL Films, all the baseball documentaries about getting those stories and just really reliving that stuff and the legends that are built from it. Man, that's what makes sports, and it's beautiful.
Agree. And we on ESPN, like just take over Stephen A. Smith's job at this point. Like, can we have that?
Oh, not just that. I mean, look, 30 for 30. I mean, they do a great job of telling those stories.
Yeah. Agree. And we have a great story coming up later this year between the Steelers and the Packers with the Aaron Rodgers return. I mean, it will be in Pittsburgh, so now return to Green Bay. But you know, the first time Rodgers has played against his former team that he obviously won a Super Bowl with and played most of his career and got drafted with. So that'll be an exciting story to watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know you guys already had your sort of revenge match with New York. I know you played them before, but it adds that extra element. I mean, I really was hoping he would go to the Vikings just to complete the cycle. And I mean, it almost happened too.
We all thought it would.
As I said, I didn't like the Rodgers signing because, you know, the baggage plus not to mention it's just the mobility. He just doesn't have it anymore with the Achilles. And I mean, he's still doing a decent job, but it's more or less a lot of the quick game stuff. I don't know how much that's going to last in terms of stronger teams, but in terms of what he has been so far, he's been all right. He's been kind of like a low-end starter. I mean, I don't think like PFF is giving him like no respect. I don't agree with that. Like, he is not lower rated than Jake Browning. Come on, let's be real here. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, he's not the Aaron Rodgers he was 5 years ago. But if you can be at least like a league average quarterback or like somewhat below average league quarterback, you could be able to make it to the playoffs, and who knows from there.
Right.
No, absolutely. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just saying, we always say just make it to the playoffs, and then you know, you never know what's going to happen. So
unless, unfortunately, if you're the Steelers, then you just get blown out. That's the problem, because it's like you're on that same hamster wheel, and that's the issue with the Steelers. It's like they're kind of they want to try and repeat the same processes and not really change anything philosophy wise. So you beat up on the small teams, you and then you get crushed by like Kansas City or Buffalo, Baltimore, and it's just like, really? Then why are we going 9-8? If you're going to just keep doing this, just accept the rebuild and go from there and just start reloading. But
Sounds
the
like the
problem is,
Packers a little bit.
it's not the Steelers' MO. They don't tank.
That sounds like the Packers a little bit. You know, we always are in the conversation, but can never make the Super Bowl. But you know, funny,
I
the
mean,
last time
even you guys have had your years where you've bottomed out, just because. I mean, 2017 with Rodgers and the injury, I think that exposed a lot of flaws and it forced you to change.
Sure.
That, I mean, you needed that year.
Yep.
Because I feel like management got very complacent. The Steelers are kind of in that same boat. You need that kind of year just to like force you to change. But the problem is, and then you could finally evolve to the modern thinking and have a better chance of sustained success.
That's right.
Definitely. So I'll go 2 quick questions. I'll hand it back over to Mike. I want to get to the chat here because the chat has a question for you, Tree.
Nice.
What high school did you go to? My Yinzer friend wants to know.
I went to North Allegheny, the hoity-toity school. It wasn't super rich at the time I went there. I mean, it really started kicking around like the mid-2000s. And now, like, when I go back there, I don't even recognize it. I'm like, what is this place? They just built everything up. It turned into like some sort of posh area. I'm just like, what?
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember when Cranberry, it was just a Shoney's and a Walmart. It built up so much. It's just like it's just like a zoo, and there's like just something. It's like, oh, there's the something that just got built new, and now it's megapolis now.
Wow.
Where when I was a kid, it was just a shopping mall, a Walmart, and a few other things. It's crazy to see that just change over 30 years.
Interesting. And then, so I'm gonna. This is more of a Mike question here, but with Mike, he had this idea once, Tree, with having content creators come together for like a flag football tournament. Now, you 5 and other content creators have participated in a baseball competition that you guys do yearly. Have you guys thought of doing a football competition with other content creators like Grossi and the others?
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. We actually did like a flag football sort of thing in Dallas back in 2018. Like I was on a team with like KTO, Flemlo, 5 Points Vids, and I believe a guy who played D3 college. And we just used our football knowledge just to like beat up on a couple teams. I think there was Too Hype was one of them, and I believe there were. Yep, I remember where they were still like a big thing in 2018. I mean, I didn't really talk to them that much, but just they were doing their own thing. So I was mostly with 5, Flemlo, and KTO. But in terms of just the things that we did, I mean, that would be a cool idea. I mean, to raise it for charity.
Agreed.
But it's more or less just finding the time to like organize everything together. I mean, it takes a while to organize those baseball and the charity baseball tournaments. I mean, it got me into men's league baseball, honestly. Like I play on a team, but I mean, I suck, but it's a good time, you know?
That's because I know they do it over in England. They have like sidemen. They have the soccer match with like all the bigger YouTubers. I know that they always do like for charities always, because like that's what I was like thinking, like with when Mike said that idea to me like a couple months ago. I'm like, well, we have this could be like the American version because we're known more of our football, American football, not soccer out there for you European guys. It's the American football, and I feel like that'd be pretty cool if it's like a flag football sort of way.
Yeah, well, like we're not selling out Wembley. Like we don't have the notoriety of the Sidemen and Mr. Beast and KSI and guys like that, or iShowSpeed. Like we are not those dudes.
No, yeah,
we're not in that.
The idea kind of came to me. Went for a Cheesehead TV meetup last year in Lambeau. And I'm not sure if you've been to Lambeau before, but the Titletown has been built up right outside of. It's actually funny what you said about Pittsburgh, but the Packers built up what used to be, I think, a Kmart right across from Lambeau Field. It's now this beautiful Titletown where the draft, a lot of it was, and they have a football field right outside. And I'm not sure if you know Big B. He was the one that found out about Rodgers' broken toe. But we were playing for. He was the person on the Make-A-Wish event. So we were playing on the field, and I was like, this is actually a good idea to have like, a YouTube charity event. That was just the idea I had. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Jeremy. But it's cool that you do it for baseball. Obviously, the Packers have a charity softball tournament every year that Donald Driver runs, and that's always fun. So that's cool. I'll have to look out for some videos on that.
I know with the Steelers, they've been really trying to build up the North Shore, especially over the past 10, 15 years.
Okay.
Different bars, restaurants, especially with the NFL draft coming in, they've been
Yeah.
really starting to develop that. They're building up Point State Park this year for the draft. So my hope is, and my dream, I don't know if it's going to happen, I want to at least be on Radio Row while I'm streaming the draft next year.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm hoping to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not announcing a pick. Let's be real here. The Steelers block me on Twitter. That shit ain't happening. But the reality is, it's just just at least relish in it and enjoy the experience. That's what I want to do with this draft.
Well, we just had Paul from the Paul Farrington show on last week, and he was explaining to us how he got into Radio Row. So they got into Radio Row in Green Bay.
Nice.
And I'm sure they'd what do you call it? You would qualify.
Yeah,
So,
Tree would probably qualify.
Yeah, I think you have to reach out to the NFL and then say about your channel and stuff and your videos. I would think you qualify, especially for the Steelers. That'd be cool. So
Nice.
yeah. All right, Jeremy. Any other questions?
What was my other question I had? So like we were talking about a little before Tree, but about like the current landscape, how sport media, and like we mentioned about the other streamers, and now we're seeing Tom on like he's doing the Friday night football game in Brazil. He did it with the Chiefs game. How are you seeing that like with yourself here? Of like how are you seeing like the content creators like Tree, Scooter, Perna, Five, you? How are you seeing that influence like the sports media aspect? Because now we're seeing more influencer. Now we already saw like a PackReacts and everything, but how are you seeing it for like the streaming wise? How are you seeing like influence how you're seeing with the sports industry and how they view everything, especially the fans?
Ooh, honestly, in terms of, I'm not really seeing it with sports influencers per se. I'm seeing it definitely with different markets. I'm seeing a lot of different influencers in terms of bringing in like people unrelated to the sports market to try and bring in their audiences. Mr. Beast, for example, in the YouTube game. The YouTube game had a lot of different influencers on it, not just in terms of like sports YouTubers, but more or less in terms of fashion YouTubers, content YouTubers, musicians, like general YouTubers. Do Perfect, as well as other streamers on Twitch. They had big like mentions in there as well. And it's more or less just to try and get those audiences. I know, especially with Taylor Swift, that was gold for the NFL because you've just now opened up a brand new audience. Whereas the pretty much one of the highest spending markets that every marketer dreams of having, just that perfect storm. And I know everyone gets tired of Taylor Swift and Jason Kelce or Travis Kelce. I get it. But the reality is, it's not about us. It's about them trying to market to a new audience. And if they can get at least even like 0.01% of that audience to regularly watch football games, they'll call it a win.
I totally agree. Totally agree. The other big winner for the Taylor Swift situation, not only in the NFL, and obviously Travis Kelce, from the relationship perspective, but Jason Kelce, it was like perfect timing for him where it kind of allowed him to blow up his career too, right when he was about to retire, where he could get into the social media aspect because Travis Kelce became such a big, national player. So, that was interesting timing. But you're right. Marketing is such a big aspect of this sport. And when you have someone like Taylor Swift and the different, genre or, type of viewer that she brings is huge for the NFL. So they definitely jumped onto that one.
I think too, it's just, as I said, it's a marketer's dream.
Yeah.
And the NFL is king. They're trying to become an international brand. So that's why you're getting the 16. I don't agree with them expanding. I don't think it needed to change from 16 games and 6 playoff teams. But the reality is the NFL has an opening and they want to take it. They've pretty much ripped apart the NBA. They took Christmas. They've taken a few other things as well. They want to expand. I like the dream of the NFL, 16 international games a year. They're going to sell out that 9:30 a.m. slot. It'll probably be Netflix, but they're going to make more money with that. They're going to have an extra like 2 weeks. They're going to have an extra game and a bye week to appease the union. So it's going to be a 20-week season. You might have more playoff seeds, but I mean, they want to expand like terms of teams. But the question is more or less just trying to find the talent and the disparity, but that'll come with time. I know they're not going to treat it like the Cleveland Browns and Houston Texans where they just give them scraps and let them struggle for a couple of years. They're going to make sure they're good off the bat.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to hit at was kind of your relationship with Tom, kind of the whole clickbait sports angle. Curious how that started. How the idea came about for clickbait, and then also just from a fun perspective, kind of like what your favorite experience has been on the show. I know there's obviously the there's raising money or donations throughout the show, and then the person with the lowest amount gets a punishment for the next show. Just curious, kind of what one of your favorite experiences from that aspect was.
Oh, well, I would have to say in terms of meeting everybody. I know the first one I came in contact with was 5 Points. In terms of like networking, it's a lot of Twitter DMs, sliding in the DMs. That's usually how it came to be. I
Got it.
know Five was the first to slide in the DM, and we've been doing a like a podcast, The Dumpster Fire, on Tuesday nights for 8 years now. Over 8 years, which is crazy. I remember if you see the first stream we did, it's still on 5 Points channel. We looked it up every now and again. We still look it up for shits and giggles. It's as bad as it is now. But it's just how it goes. And the thing too, next came was Brandon. Like he had slid in the DMs as well. Like we had networked a little bit. We've collabed on each other's stuff too. Tom was in 2020, and I know more or less. I remember like we hit it off pretty well. Like he had actually came to me to like sponsor like a video, and I asked him like how it went. That's just how it started there too. And then Scooter actually came in a little bit later. I know like we had met on like clickbait. We didn't, or like dumpster fire. We didn't really do it otherwise there, but I know for the most part we had just mostly just been casual. But with clickbait, it was originally going to be me, Scooter, or me, Tom, Brandon, and Five. Brandon and Five were like the guys with the main idea, and they came to like me and Tom asking, "Hey, you want to do this?" Like okay. First stream, we had a little test. I mean, it actually turned out pretty well. It was just like, it just turned into a donation war for whatever reason, and I'm like, "What the hell?" We just want to talk, and it just turned into just something random. But after Clickbait Sports, what happened was that Scooter wanted in. So our lovely Dallas provocateur, or Stephen A. Smith of the Dallas Cowboys, and he is going to be very insufferable this week. I am not looking forward to it. Not only did Dallas win, but Philly lost, and Florida won. They upset Texas. Right. So I'm just like, oh no, it's going to be bad. But that's just how it started. And we've somehow lasted for almost 5 years, which is crazy to think.
That's great. That's awesome. As far as watching last week's episode, and I think it was 5 Points. Somebody made the joke about I guess Tom and Scooter are tied up or something after the Cowboys and Packers had the 40-40 tie. That was a funny joke.
I was hoping for a lot of 40-40 donations, and it would have tied. Unfortunately, awesome. I ended up winning for some reason. I'm like, why? What did I do?
Oh, right. It's whoever wins gets the punishment, right?
Who wins gets punished. And my punishment, I either have to petition Aaron Rodgers for him to meet me, which I am just like crawling in my skin, or I have to petition the Steelers to unblock me on Twitter.
No, you're blocked on Twitter. That's funny.
Oh yeah, I've been randomly blocked since like 2018, I think.
Really?
I don't remember how it happened. I've never directly contacted them. All I remember is one night in September of 2018, I was coming home from work. I had a few beers in. I saw something back, and then I realized, wait, am I blocked by them? And I laughed for 10 minutes straight. And I'm just like, what? Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's the biggest sign of respect when they go out of their way to block you. So that's congratulations. Got it. So how would you go about petitioning, out of curiosity?
I don't know. Probably like I would do either the Sarah McLachlan style of just being somber and sad, or I could do something different. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I still have to figure that out.
You should do one of those, the change.org where you get like petitions, people to sign up. That'd be funny. You get a bunch of people to put their name to unblocking you.
Get some fake people in there, like the ghost of Art Rooney. The ghost of Dan Rooney. It's like unblock him, and it's just like some 20-year-old dude shit posting from college.
Exactly. Or you can get one of those like some YouTube channels. They'll hire some click farm in like India or whatnot to just create a bunch of fake accounts, just get a bunch of whole fake
Mhm.
signatures to
I agree.
unblock you on Twitter. That'd be funny.
Mhm.
Got it.
That would be funny.
Any question for you on clickbait, Jeremy?
So the way I was looking at this today, Tree is in fourth place out of the whole crew of the amount of subs. Tom is obviously number one with 900, who's very close to getting to a million. Then you got Perna, who just got 800K. Then you
he's
got
reaching up there.
and then you got Scooter
At
with
640. I'm creeping up on him.
You were creeping up on him, and then you got Five, who's just at about 400,000. He's just about at. So I'm just curious, with like over the years of clickbait with Scooter and his cowboy nonsense, how much enjoy do you have when roasting Scooter when the Cowboys lose in the playoffs or just any time perfectly? Like when Tom got to roast Scooter happily against when the Packers beat the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Oh, that was great. Come on, man. It's unfortunately justified the 7th seed, but I'm just like sitting there like, is this real? Please God, let this be real. And it was just a shit piping massacre, and it was beautiful.
And then what was it for because I did like a whole hype trailer video of like the Packers Cowboys, and I included your bit of like when you're just laughing straight about Scooter. What was that like? Because I legitimately remember you guys saying we are live, and then the news just hit. What was that like?
It just happened randomly. It literally happened 10 seconds before we were going live when we found out. So I immediately just hit live, and that was pretty much a live reaction. Like we were about 10 seconds like after Tom found out. And that was just, it was the biggest moment of clickbait. It just happened randomly because we were going to talk about Micah Parsons and the trade rumors and everything that happened there because it was obvious that he was on the way out. And then it just happened live, and it turned into like gangbusters for Scooter and Tom.
That's great. That's great.
Which is ironic too, because it happened on a podcast with a Packers fan and a Cowboys fan. So you got both dynamics at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like Brandon couldn't make it. It's like Five is just sitting there eating popcorn, and I'm just being a provocateur. I'm just like, yeah, let's go, baby. I'm just shitting on people.
Wow, I'm gonna have to go back and I don't think I saw that episode. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
It's the funniest thing. I just remember Tree's laugh and Scooter just he's like he wants to end the stream, wants to leave. It was probably one of the happiest times. Yeah, let me end the stream.
No.
That was probably one of my favorites of seeing Scooter so depressed of like watching him of his Cowboy fandom. It's just like that's a happy moment for America of sports fandom. That's just a great moment.
When it's America's team because America cheers when the Cowboys lose.
That's right.
So true.
That's right.
So true. So true.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And then, what do you see, Tree, as like as you're going to evolve like with your channel, like you've been doing the past few years? How do you see revolving the next few years?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm just trying to figure out like how things are like going to be from there. I'm just keeping it fluid more or less. I feel like most change isn't really forced. I feel like it's a slow organic process. And honestly, that's really how you have to do it because drastic changes I feel like aren't really necessary. I feel like it's going to drive people away. I mean, you have to be authentic to yourself. You have to be authentic to the product you're watching. And the NFL has kind of become drunk. So I'm just sitting there like, how do I do this now? How do I adapt? That's the reality of the situation now. And I think that's just going to be the challenge for everybody, especially with AI starting to come into their own. And you will have AI creators, and you're going to have to compete with them now.
No, definitely. So to go kind of based off that real quick, what advice would you give to someone who's trying to start a new sports content channel on YouTube?
Honestly, just start creating. I think that's the best answer for anybody. Like, don't hesitate. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just don't expect anything out of it either. And honestly, don't go be in it for money, fame, or views, because at the end of the day, you'll fail with that regard. But if there's a genuine passion for it, if you are dedicated to your craft, to slowly develop it over time and use it as a creative release instead of like a career path, I think you'll be surprised at how the results are. I think there's going to be that satisfaction in being able to produce something of even some value for people that people invest time into, about finding yourself, finding your personality. And I think if you can do that, I think honestly, who knows what happens. I remember Brandon and Tom struggled for a long time. I mean, they were hurting for a couple of years and then just boom, popped off.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're huge.
Yeah.
It's just the way like trends work.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's consistency. Making sure that you love it. Look, people are going to see right through somebody who doesn't love the content they're putting out themselves. And I think that you hit the nail on the head there, is that you can't expect anything out of it. Like, I don't feel like YouTube is a career that you go to college for, that you do like what everyone, it's like, it's not about knowing knowledge, right? It's more about having the love for it and wanting to do this whether or not you're getting paid or not. The money has to be like a side thing of it, where obviously you need to have a living in order to do this full time, right? But if you don't love it and do it as a hobby, there's no way that anyone's going to be able to trust that the content they're seeing is genuine. Like, reason why people watch is because it's genuine content, and I think that is super important. And it was great to hear in the beginning that you said that, like, you were ready to go to work and all of a sudden you got 100 more followers and you were like super surprised, right? Like, there's no way that in the beginning, you could expect this to become a career. I think it has to happen over time of a lot of hard work.
Hard work, dedication, persistence. It's the best way to really describe things, man.
Right. Totally agree.
It's not the pure formula, but it's a good indicator, honestly.
Right. Right. One thing I wanted to ask, so obviously, one of your members of Clickbait is Tom. Tom's a Packers fan, and we had Tom on a few weeks ago. Tom, inspired, I would say, both of us. Actually, Jeremy and I met on vacation, and the first person we started talking to was Tom. He inspired us to do this podcast in a lot of ways. Just out of curiosity, knowing him and doing a show weekly with him, how have you, seen his career progress? Obviously, raising over $500,000 for St. Jude's at the 30 and 30. Then, having a stream where he's live for 5 days, raises over $1 million for Children of the Fallen Patriots, which is a great charity as well. And a NFL Fan of the Year, all that. Just curious to hear how your friendship with him has progressed and how you've been proud of him over his career. And also, obviously NFL Fan of the Year is a huge, honor. Who would you think the next person in the group would be that deserves or would win that award?
Honestly, I don't know if it's going to be Perna. I feel like he's a little too risque for the NFL. I feel like it would be Scooter. I feel like Scooter would be the guy, because he's more or less just the family-friendly creator. Like me, they're not touching me with a 50-foot pole. I'm not even being cynical. It's like, oh, no. You're shooting on the league. Get out of here. They're more likely to file a cease and desist than they are to tell me with that. But so I would say Scooter for that. But in terms of Tom, like I've never seen a more genuine man in my life. Like, I'm honored to call him my friend. I am like legitimately proud of what he's built, what he's developed. He inspires me in a lot of ways. Like, a lot of the charity stuff I do, it's nowhere near as much as him, but he was a big inspiration with that in terms of the outreach. And just, I'm impressed with the fact that he's able to have this groundswell of support, I would say. And not just that, it's just grassroots too. Like, he doesn't take like sponsor money. He doesn't do anything like that. I know, like, it's crowdfunding is a little weird for me, because I feel like I feel guilty by taking people's, like, just in terms of paying their bills. But I mean, people just do it out of just because they enjoy it, not because he begs or asks for it. And I think that's like a noble way to do things. I respect it. I'm going to be honest with you.
Totally agree.
Mike, do you have any other questions for Tree?
I think that's it. What about you, Jeremy?
So I wanted to get quick, because we can't get out here without Tree Steelers here. We have to know, Tree, is this when do you say, because obviously we know Mike Tomlin's a great head coach and everything, what is the time to kind of cut ties and kind of blow up the whole team and like rebuild? Because it's been 9-8 the past, as long as we can remember. What is the time, Tree?
Problem is, it's not about what I think. It's about what the Steelers think. And the Steelers are content with the way things are. I mean, They feel like this is the way to succeed. I disagree completely because, quite frankly, it's very luck based in terms of generating turnovers. And I mean, with the real teams, it's obvious they just get completely flat out exposed. But the reality is, Art too, and like he wants this sort of system. Tomlin's very stubborn; he doesn't like change, and it's obvious like he hasn't evolved in 15 years.
Yep.
And I think the reality is, it's showing in just a lot of just how the game's kind of evolved. But I think the thing is, like, sometimes you do need that change. Example: Andy Reid in Philly. That's my biggest example because both situations were getting stale. Andy Reid wasn't evolving. Philly was in sort of a stagnant state. Both went their separate ways. And it took a couple years for both of them to really find their way. But the reality is it worked out well for both sides because Andy Reid was forced to evolve. He found Patrick Mahomes. He was able to develop him into the quarterback of his dreams, won multiple Super Bowls, changed his entire legacy because originally it was a legacy of choking and failure. And now he's looked at as one of the best coaches of his generation.
Yeah.
Yep.
And secondly, with Philadelphia, you've built an empire. You've won 2 Super Bowls. And quite frankly, that wouldn't have happened if you kept Andy Reid. You had to suffer through Chip Kelly. Andy Reid had to suffer through Alex Smith in those painful years. And that's how they grew.
Mm-hmm.
No, that makes total sense. Speaking with the Steelers, so Mike Tomlin obviously has been the longest tenured active coach in the NFL for one team. He's been the coach since 2007, making that 19 seasons this year. What's your thoughts on Mike Tomlin? Obviously, I don't expect you to come on and ask for him to be fired or anything, but do you think that it's starting to get to that point and, you think a change would be made in the next few seasons or something?
He's got that job for as long as he wants. That's the reality of it. The Steelers don't fire coaches. I mean, look how long it took them to fire Matt Canada. And that's just the main thing. And they were like pretty much like on pins and needles firing him. And it was just obvious. It was just a terrible fit. And he was nowhere near an offensive coordinator. But with Tomlin, as I said, I think he's a good coach. I think he's a master motivator of men. I think he like players play for him. And I think like he's like in more or less terms, he's a good man. But I think he's just well past his expiration date here. And it happens. I mean, John Harbaugh in Baltimore is the same thing. Like, I think he's a good coach. He's just past his expiration date. Yeah. And it's not a demerit on them. It's just how things work. Yeah. And I think, as I said, Tomlin's here as long as he wants. And I don't think he even gets another coach. He takes a coaching job when he retires. I think he goes on to Fox or CBS like Bill Cowher did. I mean, there's no point. I mean, he's already going to Canton.
Oh, yeah.
So, sense. Like, I mean, spend like $10, $50 million, just shoot the shit on the morning show. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm. No. And my last question for you, Tree. I'm going to give you 3 teams here. I'm not going to put Tom or Perna because I feel like they're playoff contentious teams here. But your team, Scooter's team, and Five's team, which team's more closer to winning the Super Bowl?
Steelers. Dallas doesn't have a defense, and the Giants are a mess.
Okay. And if we don't include this season here, Tree, for the next couple of years of like who's going to be more of a contending team, who would it be then?
If Dallas gets a defense, I'd say them. But the question is, I don't know if Jerry Jones is going to allow them to get a defense. Jerry Jones is what holds back the Cowboys. As for the Giants, I mean, you're going to have to overhaul everything again. Brian Daboll's lost his luster, and he's nowhere near the same sort of spark that he was when he first came in. Yep. Jackson Dart could be something, but you're going to have to develop him well. And the problem is you're going to need to bring in a whole new regime. And I don't trust John Mara to do it. So I'm not sure. I mean, they could be like, a fringe contender the next few years if everything goes right. But it's, as I said, it's going to be a long road.
No, absolutely. And going back to like the Mike Parsons deal of like talking about Jerry, I made a video about like how Jerry has dealt with players like in the contract they're about to get extended, don't want to extend. And throughout the history of Jerry Jones, he's never made this type of move of like getting rid of Micah Parsons or making that big type of deal. You've seen it with Emmitt Smith. You've seen it with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, made the highest paid guy. The only time I remember where the Cowboys did a trade, it wasn't when Jerry was the GM. It was Tex Schramm where he traded the one guy to the Patriots. I forget his name, but he traded him to the Patriots. Lasts 3 days, goes right back to the Cowboys, and they wins the Super Bowl, first ever Super Bowl for Dallas. And then gets traded to San Diego. We never hear about the guy again. Like Jerry, though, I never thought of it because given the history of what Jerry has done, he never makes that type of move. unless it's Herschel Walker. But like
but that was just
was
like
ridiculous.
a restock the cupboards
Yeah.
thing. I think that was more of a Jimmy Johnson thing.
Yeah.
And the thing with Jerry Jones, his problem is he waits too long,
Yeah.
and he has to pay more in the long term. Because if he had paid Micah Parsons last year, and when everyone said he should have, he would have made $35 million. Like, you would have just restructured from there, or you would have been fine. Same as CeeDee Lamb, you could have had him for like 29 million, restructure from there. Dak, you could have had for 50 to 55, then restructure from there. The problem is the market keeps getting broken. With Dak, it happened with Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence, who are a lower tier quarterback than Dak. I mean, you also have with CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson got 35. And this past year with Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett got $40 million, broke the market. Then TJ Watt got 41. Broke the market again. You have 42 to 45. And now they've broken the market again because they're paying Micah Parsons 47, which screws the Lions because they're going to have to pay Aiden Hutchinson, and it might be 50.
You got to kill two birds with one stone here, folks. With as Tree just mentioned about Hutchinson, but also getting Micah Parsons as kind of a Reggie White, not going to be exactly Reggie White, but a Reggie White type of player, though.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Any other questions, Jeremy?
Tree, what are you looking most forward to by the end of like the NFL season? Or no, excuse me, let me recheck that again. What has been your favorite like project or favorite video you ever done with your channel?
Probably the Legacies of Failure. I would say those are my big ones, just delving into history and really just digging in deep. I think those are the things that really fascinate me the most. Like, the favorite video I did this year was the Ted Stepien Reign of Error, and just really digging in, finding that video, and just more or less just digging into that. I wanted to do him for a long time, and finally being able to do it, I enjoyed doing that one.
Nice.
That's awesome. And the last question for me is, so I was at the NFL draft this year, and the last thing at the NFL draft was the Steelers representatives came on, and Mark Murphy handed the football off to the Steelers for the NFL draft in 2026. Just curious if you have any plans. I know we kind of discussed maybe doing Radio Row earlier, but any plans for the draft being from Pittsburgh? And if not, if there's anything you're looking forward to with it being in Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, I'm just looking more or less for the camaraderie. I might go through all 3 days, but it's more or less just trying to figure out like how things work from there and trying to plan and organize things out. I know Thursday, I'm hoping to at least do the stream from there. Like, that would be huge. Like, I would love to do that. Like, I just don't want to do it from my room. Yeah. Because it's going to be there. I want to be there. I want to just sit around and do things, have a couple beers and just shoot the shit. Like, I just want to do that. I don't care if it's just like in a random room where nobody shows up. I just want to do it,
Yeah. Makes sense. That makes sense.
So that's just mainly how I would do it then. And then like day 2 and 3, I might just enjoy the sights and sounds.
Yeah, that's great. Jeremy wasn't there, but I was there Monday. The first day, Thursday, was amazing. It was really fun with Matthew Golden being picked, everyone going crazy.
First Packers receiver in a long time.
I wasn't even born
in the first
when
round.
It wasn't even born when that happened.
Sterling Sharp.
Yep.
Sterling Sharp.
I was like 5.
Even Friday and Saturday had amazing turnouts that was super fun to be at. So that should be exciting. It'll be interesting to see when more information comes out about how they do it in Pittsburgh. But the NFL draft is always exciting this year every year because it's in a different city. So this is Pittsburgh's term. So hopefully,
as I said, that's probably one of the better things the NFL has done. They used to do it at Radio City Music Hall. I remember Paul Tagliabue always going up to the stage, and that was always the tradition. They used to never actually have a crowd there. It used to just be like a press conference room, and the NFL never understood why would you want to broadcast the draft. It's like, okay.
Right. Yeah. It's just about, like you said, marketing, now that it's crazy
it's an event.
how it's evolved. Yeah. It's totally an event. Yeah. It's crazy how it's evolved over the years, and it's just going to keep evolving. But it's exciting to see the city of Pittsburgh get it this year, and it'll be exciting to see how they do.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're about to our hour mark. really excited and appreciate you coming on. That's all I had. Jeremy, do you have any last thoughts?
I'll give one last question from the chat because they were
Yep.
asking for Tree. Should Pittsburgh get an NBA team, Tree?
I don't think so because, quite frankly, it's not a four-sport city. I think the
I agree.
reality is
Yeah.
it's just I don't know how they're going to support that and hockey and baseball and football. Also, like the baseball team, like it's just you'd have to have one of them to move maybe then. But as I said, we've had so many basketball teams in the city in the past, and they have all failed in a year or two. I just don't think it's a basketball market. That's the problem.
Okay.
Right.
I know, like with MLS, they're actually looking to try and go, or with soccer, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds are looking to expand Highmark Stadium. Really nice stadium. I was there about a month ago for a game. It's really lively atmosphere. I know they do need some improvements with the sound and the video board, but I think they'll do that with the expansion. They're looking to do over 15,000 seats and try to apply for MLS. So you might get a fourth professional team.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah. Because that's always the interesting thing with Pittsburgh. They always have like the most like beautiful stadiums, but I mean the teams are the teams, but the stadiums are just fantastic.
I know, like PNC is gorgeous. You ever been
Oh,
to PNC?
No, unfortunately, I've never. I've always wanted to go out. Everyone tells me to go out.
beautiful,
Even my
man.
neighbor tells me to go out there. It's like the most like cool place. I mean, I like the Steelers Stadium with Heinz Field. I'll still call it that, so I'm not calling it.
We all still call it Heinz Field.
Okay.
Let's be
Good.
real here.
Good.
Good. The one thing I always remember about Heinz Field is how there was a movie filmed on the field, Dark Knight Rises, was actually filmed. That's the one thing I will remember for that.
But most unrealistic thing out of that whole movie, Heinz Ward returning a kickoff return for a touchdown. I'm just sitting there like,
fair.
He was never
That's
a speed guy.
Right.
Come on.
That's fair. I just looked up this Highmark Stadium. First one that comes up is the Bills' new stadium, but then
the new Bills Stadium, not the
not the one you're talking
Riverhound
about.
Stadium.
But yeah, this is like directly on the river, and you see the city, the skyline.
Mm-hmm. And with the expansion, they're keeping that river view.
Wow, that's very cool. Huh.
Yep.
Got it. Yeah, because the picture I'm seeing is just like a bunch of bleachers, so they're actually building.
They're building like a 2-story canopy flanking both sides.
Very cool. That's exciting.
They used to play at a local high school for the longest time, so.
Got it.
Yeah, interesting.
Very cool. All right, cool. So, the way we end our show is like a lot of other shows around, just kind of go around, tell the viewers where they can find you, kind of anything that you got coming up that you want to just, make them aware of. And, then we'll probably sign off if that's cool.
Absolutely. Works for me, man.
Awesome.
All right, Jeremy. Actually, no, Urinating Tree. We'll give you the first start as our guest.
Absolutely. Well, you can find me on Urinating Tree on YouTube. I'm about to release Sports Ball Week 5 in a couple minutes.
Wow,
just got to do my final checks, and we're good to go there. I had that uploaded, ready to rock. I also Urinating Tree on Twitter and urinating_tree on Instagram. So looking for a few things out in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping to be able to do some work on the NHL Season Haters Guide, which the NHL season's already started, so it's like great. But this is the time that always just kind of beats the crap out of me. So it's just how it goes. I'm thinking like maybe like a random shit post about the Arizona Cardinals, but as I said, it'll be quick. I have an idea for it.
There you go. Nice.
Exciting.
Mike, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go, Jeremy. You have more interesting stuff to talk about.
All right. Well, folks, you know where to find me on my own YouTube channel, which we are live right now doing it. I already mentioned it on the show. I have my GOAT series. The 2000s decade team comes out tomorrow. So you'll be hearing a lot of Pittsburgh players in that era. Troy Polamalu, my favorite Pittsburgh Steeler from that era. We're going through that. And then other ones, I just recently put out a video on my Flyers. It was my Flyers NHL tryout video, which I become the next Sidney Crosby. So that's the shout out as a Flyers fan, unfortunately, to the Pittsburgh Penguins fans, where Penguins are like the Packers and the Flyers like the Bears. They own us very much.
Which is ironic because the Flyers used to own the Penguins for a long time at their stadium back in the 80s.
That's true. That's so true. So you can go check that out, how terrible I am at hockey of shooting. And it might be worse than Trees baseball. I don't know. But
I mean, I'm pretty bad at baseball. You probably doing better than me. Let's be real here.
I barely get the puck at the end of the net, Tree. I could barely. And
well, the thing is, it's weird because like you have to use your hips, and that's the problem I've been having too.
I had to also wear shoes too while I was on the ice, so that was also a bit of
Oh,
annoying.
Really?
yeah.
So you were
Yeah,
slipping around?
I almost fell my butt the second try, and that was from the because it was like at the Flyers game, so I was on their ice and first blue line, like I was fine. When I missed that, I have to go all the way back towards the end of the net and hit it all the way from back there, and I almost slipped and I caught myself.
Oh.
It was brutal. It
I'm
was
surprised they didn't put a
brutal.
rug down for you. Like
No, they should have put a rug down, but no, that was so annoying to
wow.
yeah. But that's one video. So you can see me as the next Sidney Crosby Jr. kid who's the fake NHL kid, if you want to say, folks. So you can check that out, the GOAT series, and my
Nice.
sports sales video I just put out about how to get into the sports industry through ticket sales and every bit of that. And then if you want to check out for fun, like I had Tree basically my video just laughing at Scooter. Check out the Cowboys Packers hype to the video. That's 2 minutes long to see how Jerry has ruined the Cowboys even more, folks. So you can
What
check
do you
that
mean?
out. Well.
That's great. I hope
Oh, I
Jerry
know
Jones lives forever. What are you talking about?
Oh, I know it's great. That I'm just saying for Scooter, we have to. He can suffer, but like this is okay. Let me ask you this, Trey. Will Jerry Jones, as long as he lives the rest of his life, will the Cowboys win a Super Bowl? As long
If
as he's
Jerry
the
lives,
GM.
no. I
Okay.
don't know if it's even going to happen with Steven because Steven's kind of the same thing as Jerry.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like it's kind of a little bit like the Raiders when you have. I mean, now you got Brady in there, but it's like you got to kind of just change the ownership a little bit. Like you've had these problem issues forever. Is something ever going to change?
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, on my side, I'll keep it short for the viewers' pleasure here. You can find me on X on PackReacts Podcast. I run the Twitter for the most part, or X account for the most part, and yeah, you see me ranting about hopefully a Packers win this week against the Bengals.
Hey, I'll be at that game.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
I'll be out. I'll be at Lambeau this week here. So
Well,
if
you're gonna
anyone
have to
wants
get
to
some
see me,
content for us, Jeremy.
I will get content. I'll get
Get some
content.
content.
I'll do the job for Tree to beat the Bengals for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
right.
that should be pretty easy, hopefully.
It should be.
It should have been against the Browns too. We didn't pull one out for you there, so I apologize and apologize about that one. But yeah, so PackReacts podcast. Probably watching the game at Tom and Jerry's in the city this week. If anyone wants to come through, that's a great Packers bar actually, free bratwurst. So that's that. And then yeah, obviously you can find me on my personal account Arvo15 in my name below. But yeah, basically X, and then hopefully for Jeremy's sake, I'll start getting better at video editing or whatnot.
We're
But
still in the process
probably
of
not.
that, folks. We're
Probably
still in the
not.
process of that. We gotta teach them, guys. We gotta teach them.
So yeah, that's what I got on my side.
All right, folks. Well, that will do it here. As we like to say, go Pack Go. But for Tree's sake, we'll allow him to get the Yinzer and all the flags. He was going to the Super Bowl, of course, for him.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on. We're going Super Bowl. Let's be real.
There we
here.
go.
Come on. No pack, no. Once it happens, no pack, no. No pack, no. Yeah,
Well, you know what? I gotta
yeah,
say,
yeah.
go Pack Go too for our fans. And then you know, one thing we'll say before that is what do you call it? This is our time, right? What did Kevin Green say
This
to
is
Clay
our
Matthews?
Colts. Oh, wait, that's the wrong song. Sorry, but I mean, Kevin Green was a Steeler, so you know, hey,
He
you gotta
was.
do what you
That's
gotta do.
right. You know.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Kevin Green, great man. But
Great player
but yeah,
too.
great player, exactly. But hopefully, you know what? For both of our sakes, we'll see the Steelers in the Super Bowl again this year, 15 years later. So
Well, we'll see. I mean, if it's Steelers Packers, I'm going to see if I can run out a bar with Tom or something.
that'd be
There
awesome.
we
You
go.
know, if that happens, you got to give us the invite. We'll definitely come through. You
We'll
know,
see, man. I mean,
that'll be fun. But all right, well, one step at a time. You want to take us out, Jeremy?
Yep, that will do it here, folks. Thank you again, Tree, for coming on. And we'll be here next week once again, here, folks. We're going to try and get back to Thursday. We're going to try and get back to that and have another guest on. We've had Tree, we've had Paul Farrington, we've had Tom Grossi. We're trying to get through the clickbait sports if we possibly can. So we're trying to get them all this year as a goal, but we'll see how it goes here, folks. But that'll do it here. Wrap in the studio. Always go Pack Go.